Every election, millions of Indian citizens display their inked fingers as a badge of pride. There is a deep, common assumption that this act, casting a vote, is an untouchable right woven directly into the foundational fabric of the nation. But the Constitution does not actually contain a standalone inherent right to cast a ballot. While it sets the stage for democracy, the specific guarantee to mark a choice is missing from the list of fundamental rights. Instead, the right to vote is purely statutory. If the Constitution builds the roads for democracy, Parliament prints the tickets that allow you to board the bus. This means the right is created by specific laws, and because it is created by law, it can be regulated or altered by the people who write those laws. This legal distinction creates the primary friction point in modern Indian democracy. When the Supreme Court reviews cases on electoral integrity or voter rolls, it is navigating the tension between the broad promises of the Constitution and the specific, changeable rules that actually put a ballot in your hand. To understand why this works, we must view the voting system as a two-part assembly. It was designed this way to ensure the electoral process remained flexible as the nation grew. Article 326 provides the bedrock, universal adult suffrage, based on age, not property, but stops short of granting the vote. The second pillar, the Representation of the People Act, specifically Section 62, slots in as the mechanism translating this into a functional legal right. Once these pillars are in place, the Election Commission of India operates the system. They maintain the electoral rolls and oversee the physical voting process, ensuring the machine functions by statute. This split architecture is practical. It allows Parliament to update the system through standard legislation, like adding disqualifications for crimes or setting age limits, without requiring the complex process of a constitutional amendment. Since independence, the Supreme Court has continuously tested and defined the boundaries of this framework to protect it from legal challenges. The precedent was set early. In the 1952 N.P. Panaswamy case, the court held that the right to vote was purely statutory, confirming it did not enjoy the inherent protections of a fundamental right. 3 decades later, in 1982, the court reaffirmed this in the Jyoti Basu ruling. The legal status of the vote as a product of Parliament, rather than an inherent constitutional right, remained unchanged. This statutory flexibility was put to use in 1988. The 61st Amendment lowered the voting age from 21 to 18, demonstrating how the system's parameters can be modified to include millions of new participants. The modern interpretation evolved further in the 2023 Anup Baranwal case. While maintaining the vote is statutory, the court began protecting the freedom of informed choice as a vital democratic component. The court has spent 7 decades reconciling this contradiction, ruling on a right that is technically a product of Parliament, yet essential to the survival of the democratic structure. Because the legislature controls the laws that grant the vote, those already in power hold immense authority over the rules of their own elections. This creates a natural friction. When it serves a political edge, the system can suffer from manipulated voter rolls, weak enforcement in remote areas, or legal delays that stall the process. Systemic flaws are often reinforced by citizen apathy. If people believe a single vote carries no weight against these structural hurdles, they stop participating, making the flaws even harder to correct. Courts use a specific countermeasure to manage this risk. By applying what they call a constitutional flavor to their rulings, they treat voting laws with a higher degree of scrutiny than a standard civil statute. This leaves a central dilemma. When a political party can gain a short-term advantage by exploiting these rules, the nation's stability depends on a choice: prioritize immediate electoral victory or protect long-term trust in the system. India's electoral framework is built on this duality: the permanence of the Constitution and the flexibility of the law. Because the right to vote remains a statute that can be amended, the system relies on constant public and judicial oversight to ensure the mechanics of voting serve the people rather than the interests of power.